morning, everyone. Okay. Welcome to the workshop meeting for the Okaloosa County School Board for August 24th, 2026. I call this meeting to order. Good morning, board members. Let's look at our agenda. First will be tonight, we'll have the approval of the agenda. At this time, we don't have any changes, but things can happen through the day. We do have a recognition. I love this recognition of Miss Sheila Lightbourne on the occasion of her retirement. I've known Miss Lightbourne for many, many years, starting when she was a teacher, and I'm so glad that we get to recognize her tonight for her contributions to this school district. So that'll be tonight. We do not have any administrative personnel appointments. All right, then we go to public comment. The first one is the blue card. Get 3 minutes. Okay, moving on to section 6, committee and staff. Okay, moving on to section 6, committee and staff reports for this workshop. 6.1 is in-county travel, paid for July 2026, presented by Ms. Perry. And 6.2 is out-of-county travel, paid for July 2026, presented by Ms. Perry. All right, moving on. And then we'll have 7.2, which is the approval of the minutes of the workshop meeting of August 10th and the minutes of that regular meeting on August 10th. All right, moving on to 7.3 is appropriation of District 1 School Board Member Capital Outlay Funds to Pryor Middle School for Choral Program Shares in the amount of $3,636.55, presented by Dr. White. 7.4, appropriation of District 2 School Board Member Capital Outlay Funds to Eglin Elementary for a Clear Touch interactive panel in the amount of $6,065.67, presented by Mr. Destin.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I'd like to go on record thanking Mr. Destin, which I hardly ever do, but yes, but for doing that. It's one of my schools, and they needed those, and I came in with 2 last week, and he did it this week.
Perfect.
This meeting.
Well, we're all here for everybody. All right, 7.5, appropriation of District 2 School Board Member Capital Outlay Funds to Choctawhatchee High School for swim team equipment in the amount of $1,397.90, presented by Mr. Destin.
Thank you, Mr. Destin.
Oh, you're very welcome.
You're being really generous, Mr. Destin.
Well, I mean, folks ask me, and if I like the project, I don't care what district they're in. Let's fund it.
That's right. That's what we do. 7.6, appropriation of District 4 School Board Member Capital Outlay Funds to Richburg School for a refrigerator in the amount of $799, presented by Mr. Bryant. 7.7, appropriation of District 5 School Board Member Capital Outlay Funds to Plu Elementary for Clear Touch panels in the amount of $13,032.32, presented by Mr. Heinley. 7.8, request to advertise a public hearing for adoption of a new job description for Records Management Liaison Officer, MIS, presented by Ms. Maxey and approved by the superintendent. 7.9, invoices to be approved for payment, presented by Ms. Perry, Chief Financial Officer.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Just for the record, we had only 1 no PO, so I will be harping on that every time, but it seems to be improving, so thank you.
As we go along. 7.10.
Madam Chair,
Sure.
can I jump back to 7.8 just a quick second? This is the request to advertise a public hearing on a new job description for Records Management Liaison Officer.
Yes.
Mr. Superintendent, is that going to be more than 1 person now? Is it the volume of requests that we've been getting?
So this would be, if approved, this would be a position that would be combining 2 positions. So 1 position would go away, and then it would be additional responsibilities on top of what was already being performed in records management.
Okay, thank you.
But to further the question, this is already in place. We're just changing the job description.
So this was part of this upcoming budget. It was part of the total restructure in that amount of money that we saved at the district level.
Okay.
But we want to make sure that job descriptions and everything follow suit.
Mm-hmm.
So I suppose it's safe to say that this was not a result of necessarily a volume of public records requests that have been coming in. This was already happening and planned?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? All right, let's move on. All right, 7.10, school donations, presented by Ms. Perry.
Oh, yes, that's my baby. So 20,400 over this last month. Year to date, we're at 68,290. $1,000,000.86. The winner is not a chicken dinner, but it's seafood dinner. It was $10,000 provided by Ariel Seafoods that went to Destin Middle School football program. So huge thing. And Ms. Perry, I was wondering in the future, could you put in there in the report on the year-to-date what it was last year? So we can do a comparison, see how we're ranking. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So thanks for the community. Stepping up always.
Always. All right, moving on to 7.11.
Madam Chair, if I could
sorry.
comment real quick.
Yeah.
So we list all of the big ones on here, but if you go to schools everywhere, you'll see banners, you'll see things that they're doing like delivering lunches. So the community outreach is far beyond what these dollars are. It's the little dollars that make a big difference. So we thank all of our community sponsors. I noticed that a lot of the schools were getting fed this week as far as their staff and all of it. So we thank all of those businesses who supported our schools during this first 2 weeks. So.
Absolutely, Mr. Bryan. This one on 7.10 is only for donations that are $500 or more.
Yeah. Anything else? All right, moving along, 7.11. Payroll warrant register and accounts payable warrant register totaling $32,176,084.23, and our self-help insurance claims and fees totaling $360,498.79, and bank transfers totaling $11 million for July 2026. Okay, 7.12, renewal of investment advisory services portfolio management agreement between the School Board of Okaloosa County, Florida, and FAI Capital Management, presented by Ms. Perry. All right, moving on to 7.13, price increase request for ITB 24-03 custodial equipment and repair services, presented by Mr. Wyndham. 7.14, tag on bid purchase over 50,000 Howard Technology, presented by Mr. Wyndham. All right. Moving along to 7.15, tag on bid purchase over 50,000 Hendrick Automotive Group, presented by Mr. Wyndham. 7.16, tag on bid purchase over 50,000 Patterson Pope CO Centerline Associates, presented by Mr. Wyndham. 7.16, exempted purchase over 50,000, Apogee, presented by Vince Wyndham, Program Director of Purchasing. 7.18, exempted purchase over 50,000, Prisms of Reality, presented by Mr. Wyndham. 7.19, exempted purchase over 50,000, Cognia, Inc., presented by Mr. Wyndham.
Madam Chair, if I can just make a quick comment. The staff person that you kept mentioning there, Mr. Wyndham, is actually sitting in the corner back there. But I would like to say thank you to Mr. Wyndham, because anytime that I get something that comes from a school requesting a purchase, the first thing that we do is we send it to Mr. Wyndham to make sure we're getting the best price that's out there. So with his hard work and diligence, he helped me with something here just recently to help a school go through the process. And of course, now we're in the process of ordering the equipment, but I wanted to say thank you to Mr. Wyndham back there in the corner. He makes our life a little bit easier knowing that we're getting the best possible deal that's out there when we do get requested. So thank you, Mr. Wyndham.
Absolutely, thank you. All right. So now we're on 7.20, sale and disposal of surplus property. That's presented by Mr. McElroy, Program Director for Maintenance. 7.21, renewal contract agreement between the School Board of Okaloosa County and Cambridge Assessment International Education for the 26-20 through 29 school years, presented by Ms. Ross.
Madam Chair, I have a few questions on this one.
Okay.
So the fiscal impact is said no on the agenda item summary. But we do pay, because it goes down below and describes everything. You know, if we have so many schools, we get a 50% discount, and yada, yada, yada. So we do pay, but I know we have money that's brought in as well. Is that all set from the money brought in to what we pay?
I'd have to get Ms. Perry to come forward.
And then while you're coming up there also, how many schools are involved in this program?
Well, they can't answer that part, but this is just the agreement with Cambridge. When we go to buy the tests from them, we'll bring back another item with the cost of the tests. Is what's gonna happen there.
And then, and since we're talking about the money, and the money we get in for this, is it all set?
Yes, sir, we do use the additional categorical money that they earn from those certifications to pay for the tests.
Okay.
Pay for the tests and pay for the teacher bonuses.
Okay.
And also a portion of, that's part of the resolution that the board approved, to use a portion of that money also to help maintain classroom instruction.
Okay, great. And the number of schools?
Benefits all of our high schools.
All the high
All
schools?
of our high schools, sir.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much.
Okay. Moving along to 7.22, Teleforce LLC Task Order Number 005 for Laurel Hill Security Cameras, presented by Mr. Joe Peterson.
Madam Chair, I have another question. You may have sat down too early, Ms. Ferry.
Tell
So
him it's
this,
too late, he didn't get it in.
so this money is going for cameras, and this under the Safe School program. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so,
We're using the security grant, and we're using some sales tax from capital.
okay. So my question is, the same money that we applied to the SOR program, which is,
We could use the money that we receive through the FEFP for Safe Schools, we could use for cameras. Instead, we are using it for the SRO contract.
And of course, the caveat there would be that if we use that Safe Schools allocation for cameras, that much more would then come out of general.
Right.
right, so I know that it's the same, it's some zero where we're going, but I wanted to be on record that the Safe School money that we get is not just for the SRO program, it's for anything in the Safe School program.
Yes, and to add on to that, again, it's just like any categorical that comes to us, whether it's textbooks, whether it's the mental health allocation, whatever the categorical amount that comes to us, some of which is now in the funding formula. But these are dollars that come to us that help us fund whatever the area is, whether it be safety, whether it be textbooks, whether it be mental health counselors. So these just aren't grants that come, these are dollars that come to us for specific purposes.
Specific purposes. But the Safe School money we get could be used for this, some other Safe School issues, and the SRO program. That was just a public declaration is what that was.
Yes.
So if I can, I was going to thank, the fact that we got a grant for this to help us out. So especially, I'm going to stick up for my little school up on the north end there, Laurel Hill. And, even though they have a small campus, they need this upgrade to help them because there's a lot of activity that goes on at that school after hours too. So, but, I appreciate the fact that this was a grant that was awarded to us. So this is good. Any grant helps, so.
Oh, yes.
But this wasn't the total grant for this. This came out of our Safe School allocation, which came from our BSA.
No. There were some, the last several years, the state has provided these are actual grants.
Okay.
Versus our SRO money is just a categorical in the FEFP. They have provided some actual grants for school safety, and the last couple of years we're using the grants for like fencing, and now we're using them for cameras.
Okay. So this particular project is grants plus some.
Grants plus some capital sales tax.
Okay.
But the majority of it was funded through that grant.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Thank you, Madam Chair.
Sure. Anything else? Okay, let's move on. All right, 7.23, renewal of listing agreement for commercial property between the School Board of Okaloosa County, Florida and Remax Agency 1, Inc. for the sale of real property located on Hill Avenue Northwest and Lovejoy Road in Fort Walton Beach, presented by Mr. Keith. All right. 7.24, Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, between Panhandle Area Educational Consortium, PAEC, and the School Board of Okaloosa County, Florida for Title I, Part C, Migrant Education Program Services, presented by Dr. Choice, Title I, Title III, Title IX, and Program Director for Curriculum.
Madam Chair, I have a question on that.
Okay.
The Superintendent. So this program, PAEC, I know it's stated in there, we've been doing it for a few years. I went to their website. They don't have Okaloosa identified on their website, but I assume they are after we do this.
There's some nuances.
Yes. PACE, the Panhandle Area Consortium, supports rural school districts. And for our Title I Part C, they are supporting identification of migrant students, families who are working in the fishing and agricultural industry. We have very few, so it's a service they do provide to us. We do not take part or have access to the other resources that they provide rural school districts.
And families that service in that industry.
Yes, so they're very transient. They may move quite a bit. So PACE makes sure they identify them, lets them know the supports in the area and where they may be going to for a different season.
So those students, those families working there, we take care of them as they pass through.
Yes. Long as we identify them, and that's how PACE supports us.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, anything else on that, board members? So we're going to move on to Section 8, Superintendent's Human Resources Recommendations. 8.1 for information only, employees on administrative leave. All these are presented by Ms. Maxey, our Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources. 8.2, information only, deferred retirement option program. 8.3, out of field report for 26-27, presented by Mr. Ron, our Program Director for Professional Services.
Madam Chair, I have one
Okay.
question on that. When you're a OOF out of field, how long can you be out of field?
And Ms. Maxey's going to explain that to us. Good morning.
Good morning. You can be out of field for 1 year.
1 year. And I saw the majority of them are ESOL.
Yes.
So just remember how I voted against it before. So.
And aren't these people that are coming into our profession, so they haven't had an opportunity to get that added to it?
That's correct.
Yeah. So it's take the courses and can add that.
Yes.
It's an onerous requirement by the state, which I disagree with.
That goes back years.
That's exactly right. And,
We fought it many years ago.
that's right. In addition to all the normal, regular duties that teachers have in the first year, they have this too.
I know.
Yep. Very, very, okay.
And as a reminder to the board, which I know you don't need a reminder, each time we do our legislative priorities,
We put that.
we literally stack up all the different requirements that are on new teachers and then teachers in general. And the list is long, though the individual things have merit, but when you compile them all together, there's a lot.
It's just overwhelming. It's too much.
Well, and I would comment also that it's even, you're saying the local, it's on the state side too. This is something that we talk about at the state level every year, so.
Okay, great. All right, moving along, we're going to go to 8.4, personnel recommendations by Ms. Maxey. That gives a list on ed support and instructional and substitutes. 8.5, employee transfers, presented by Ms. Maxey. 8.6, reinstatement, reimbursement of sick leave due to line of duty illness or injury by Ms. Maxey. 8.7 is leave without pay, presented by Ms. Maxey. 8.8, employment separations by Ms. Maxey. And then 8.9, we have a request that the board refer the request to appeal a suspension by an employee to the State of Florida Division of Administrative Hearings, to conduct the appeals hearing, and that's presented by Ms. Maxey. And I believe that's going to go to, we have someone designated for that, I think, so. All right. Anything on that? We'll move to, right now, there's nothing on the discussion agenda. So that puts us down to the construction program owners. I know you gave a report earlier in the month, Mr. Heinley. Anything to add?
Nothing to add. all our schools and wings and additions all made CO. It was a crazy time, but
Yeah.
staff did a wonderful job.
And the opening of school was good, yeah.
Great.
Right. All right, thank you. Now, let's go to Mr. McGinnis for his business. I know you have if you have any recommendations, and then you have 11.2, which is the update of the review of the policy 04-43, prohibition of bullying and harassment. Mr. McGinnis?
Yes, ma'am, we've completed that review, and you have a red line draft of the proposed changes to the policy. I can present this at tonight's meeting. Just wanted you to have that. That draft is available through Mary's office, the school board office. She's got that. But just want to let you know it is concluded. The process will, we started the process to move towards adoption of the amendments by running the first notice of rule development. And so we'll bring this back to you at your next meeting for you to authorize a public hearing. And then we'll run the appropriate notices, and then you'll conduct a second meeting where you'll have actually a public hearing to consider adoption of the policy.
Right. Okay, so at this point, you're just presenting to us how it's been revised,
Yes, ma'am.
so that we can look at that and present
And
it.
not asking for any action tonight, just wanted to give you an update on the process.
Certainly, okay.
Madam Chair, question for the attorney. So, when was the last time we did 04? Do you know?
It should tell us on there the,
Because we do 5 chapters a year, correct?
and this, I believe this actual policy would have been in the cycle for next year, but we just pulled it
Did it early?
ahead and have done it early. That's
I
right.
see one on the in 2021,
Right, and then it was,
and then now in 26. Oh, 24, I see October 24.
It would be on this 3-year cycle for next year. You'll notice in the policy that actually we have a more frequent review of this policy in the language itself, and that is every other year.
Is that typical because legislation changes every year, the law changes every year on things like, particular things like this?
This particular policy, the law requires that it be reviewed every 3 years, but since the policy's been drafted, this one has been subject to review by school advisory councils every other year. And we're not proposing to change that because it just seems like a good thing to do to review it more frequently. What you will see is that the school advisory councils contain a variety of persons among their membership. And so we did add into this revision that if they don't have a student or a law enforcement officer on their SAC, then the principle is to include those persons in this particular review. And that will match the requirements of the statute.
And I appreciate you mentioning the school advisory committees because they play an important part in a lot of this here that comes before us.
Right.
So I always encourage people, if you really want to make an impact at your school, join your school advisory committee.
And it's probably a broader review than what's required because we could just have a single group, I guess, for the district review it, but this has every school SAC taking a look at it and making any suggestions in the right time frame.
I think that's important. This is an important topic, and having more eyes on it and input, I think is good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Are there any other policies that we do more routine than every 3 years? Out of
Well,
15?
all of our policies are subject to be revised more frequently as legislation changes. So if we have a change in legislation, that might bring a policy up out of cycle just so we can make those kind of changes.
But on a regular cycle, we do every 3 years. So we do 5 chapters every year.
Yes, sir.
But on 04, we do it every other year.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. McGinnis? Mr. McGinnis, is the report tonight going to be more detailed? Anything?
No, sir, I just want to confirm that we've completed the review, that the statute itself contains 14 elements that a policy is supposed to address.
Okay.
This policy has a category for each of those elements. We're just proposing some amendments that will add language to some of the elements that will enhance them or add additional provisions that were in the model policy. So that's what we're proposing.
I also see on here that you've added some terminology of programs that we have just developed, like the, with the Child Safety Matters last meeting, we got that. And that's good because it correlates to the changes our district is making in addressing student behavior and how to deal with that, how the resiliency and all that we're teaching students and how to deal with situations. And I'm glad that that's in here.
This proposed revision is not strictly just dealing with the issues that have been discussed here as of recent. It's got things like updates to the programs that are available.
Yeah.
There's a statutory citation update in there, so we looked at all of those issues while we were looking at it.
And I noticed on the second page, in number 1, it gets into definition,
Yes, ma'am.
which has been, something that has been of discussion, what exactly that terminology means. So I like that it's here in a list of things that it includes.
That has always been in.
Right, yes, but I just wanted to point that out, yeah.
And I think that definition is important.
I do too.
But I also say, just like when I speak with parents, so that's the definition from the state. But that does not mean that we don't have kids who are mean at times, who can be cruel, and we also address those as well. So there's a state definition, and our schools also address behaviors that are outside the state definition of bullying.
Right. All right, anything else with Mr. McGinnis?
Madam Chair, I was just looking through it, and this is just my opinion, but this appears to be a pretty good polishing of what was already in existence. I don't see gigantic material changes or deviations. It seems like it was a fairly decent policy before. The red lines are simply straightening up a few points that get us in line with the model statute. Can somebody tell me, I know the Hope Scholarship language has been included, but to my understanding, the Hope Scholarship information was already being pushed out to students at the administrative level.
Yes, sir.
Can you give me some background on that?
I asked staff about that. I know Mr. Humphrey's here this morning. That Hope Scholarship material has been part of training annually, I think, since at least 2021, maybe even further back. So annually, the district, the school personnel dealing with discipline, APs, deans, anybody else at the school, have been getting trained on the Hope Scholarship program, how to implement it, how to notice parents of it. The Hope Scholarship itself is a separate statute, and that statute has been part of the training that Mr. Humphrey's division has been doing for a number of years. So even though there's not a direct reference in this policy, the training has been happening, and schools have been instructed on implementation of the Hope Scholarship program.
I appreciate that.
Madam Chair, another question. So speaking of that, practically, since the universal voucher system, since 2023, it doesn't matter if the Hope Scholarships, I mean, everybody gets a scholarship if they want it. If they have a problem with the school system for any reason whatsoever, or just a personal reason, they can take that voucher system, correct? Where before, it was specifically offered if there was a situation that had to do with bullying or what have you. Am I thinking correctly on that?
I believe you're thinking correctly, whereas the Hope Scholarship, you can go to a different school, and whereas the voucher, you can go to a private school or a home school. So I think there's different avenues with these scholarships, but the short answer is yes.
And this policy already had a reference in that category to the No Child Left Behind federal law that required information be given to parents if in fact there was an incident of bullying and criminal charges were brought, then they were to be given information about their right to go to other safe schools. That was already in this policy. We've simply added the Hope Scholarship program in that same section to go with that.
Well, I think this is all very good and well, and the reality is we're no longer in an election cycle, in my opinion. This review is great, it's good. I don't agree with the idea that somehow the previous one was materially deficient, but I'm happy with the changes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. McGinnis.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, moving on to section 12, which is superintendent's business. And so, Mr. Chambers, I'm going to turn it over to you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, and thank you. First of all, I want to go through just a few announcements, and then we have a couple presentations as well. As you know, we're at the beginning of the school year. And one of the comments earlier, I heard, we've had a smooth start to the school year, which I agree with. But anytime that you start a new school year, there's going to be certain things that are going to occur, and we're going to make tweaks or we're going to make revisions, and we're going to do that as efficiently and expeditiously as we can. So I just appreciate all the different departments who have done a great job. Very much appreciate all the work happening at the schools with our teachers, our staff, our administrators. That's where the rubber hits the road. And they have done an outstanding job to start off this school year. I do want to hit a few announcements. As you might remember, last year I shared with the board some designations that our VPK programs have earned. And once again, this year, our 9 VPK programs earned designations as well. 6 of them earned the highest rating, which is excellent. And these ratings they come from the Florida Department of Education, so it's nothing that's done here locally. It comes from the Florida Department of Education. And they look at the quality of the program, they look at child achievement, they look at learning aids. If you go back in time, the standards or the rigor, so to speak, it was not the same as it is today for VPK students, okay? So there are certain standards that these students have to live up to, and the teachers have to help those students get there. And our teachers have done an outstanding job. 6 of them, Bob Sykes, Edwins, Northwood, Riverside, Southside, and Walker, all earned excellent designations. Also impressively, we had 3 sites that they received the designation of above expectations. And this is for the 25-26 school year. And those schools were the Okaloosa STEM Academy, Longwood, and Mary Esther. So I just want to take a moment to say thank you to those teachers and staff working with those students. And then, of course, we have to give a great shout out and excitement for the students themselves in those programs and those families. So just proud of that, to continue to do a great job on the VPK side. I think we know here on the board, the stronger our VPK type programs are, whether they're with us or whether they're out there in the community, the more ready these students are to come to us in kindergarten. You might remember in the Reimagine Okaloosa, Mrs. Dale has done a great job where she's gone out to different sites, sharing with them what we're doing as well, so that way that they had an understanding. But Ms. Dale and her group also do a great job of keeping in touch with these institutions, so I just appreciate that. The summer feeding program, and we've heard a little bit about it, but I don't want to diminish the importance of it. 71,774 meals provided across the county, 27,848 breakfasts, and 43,926 lunches breaks those numbers down. So again, the food services department, under the leadership of Mr. Meyer and Mr. Anderson, just I said to the group when they came back, because they all come together for annual training, and I said, who was off this summer? And of course, there were some hands up, but a lot of hands did not go up because they're working over the course of the summer to provide meals for our students. So just very much appreciate that. We had a lot of our sports programs also taking advantage of this program as well, being able to be fed. As you know, many of our families, the breakfast and the lunch come from our schools. So that's important. Also, just a quick recap, we had one ribbon cutting before the last board meeting. We've had 2 since, so OTC, just again, that connection to the north end of the county and the economic impact that the OTC North in time will make on the community, but also businesses who want to come into this area, seeing that they have a pipeline of students who are ready, who are trained, and eager to get to work. So I think that was an impressive ribbon cutting. And then Destin Elementary, the new classroom addition, front office, the multi-purpose building, and then Pine View, which was absolutely fantastic as well. Just appreciate everybody who came to the ribbon cutting. I think it was a great nod to the future in our promise of keeping up with where we need to go with facilities. This is not by any means the end all. We still have on the half-cent side, we still have about 4 more years of projects to be done, even though we're ahead of schedule on projects. But we also have our capital budget where we're continuing to do work as well. And so I just appreciate your leadership, Mr. Heinley, in that area with Mr. Meyer as well. But a lot has been done, but there's still a lot more to be done. I want Mr. Spolsky to come up. One of the things that we are doing and what we've always done is pay attention to enrollment and pay attention to enrollment over different intervals of time over the course of the summer. Of course, when we get in this 10-day window at the start of the year, but we want to know specifically where we are warrant body count, and specifically where we are and what that means FTE-wise. But not just looking at it from this year. We got to look at it this year, and then how did that pertain to the previous year? Mr. Spolsky has data that'll go back 10, 15 years, so we can kind of see where we are, where we're trending. So we continue to be very mindful on that, and I just want him to kind of share more specifics as it pertains to enrollment.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Board Members, Superintendent, thank you. I'm very excited to be here today to talk about this briefly. I'll have a full report in September with slides. We'll take a lot of time to dig into it. But first of all, it's important as we think about what enrollment leads to and where we're heading. Without enrollment, without butts in seats, without teachers having those young people to really reach out and inspire, all the other departments are shaped by that big E word. And everything that we've done across the curriculum department with Reimagine, everything we've done with Donovan and our marketing firms, everything we've done at our school sites, our principals, assistant principals, teachers, the operations side with Mr. Meyer, the HR side with Ms. Maxey, and of course, finance side, it all really comes together for the young folks, which is enrollment. So I will say Mr. Peterson is here, and I would not be a very good leader if I didn't recognize him for his work. He sends in data, he tracks data hourly and daily as we go through the first 10 days, looking for what we call students that don't show, D&Es, did not enter. In the old days when we did paper attendance card, we would EO one of those students, right? Now we do everything through focus. The other person who isn't here today but deserves all the credit for these numbers, of course, is Ms. Wendy Meserve, and she's working on something medically today. But I will say right now, district operated, we are 27,637 as of 8/21. And that's literally a 10-day body count. So 27,637. I took the numbers from Ms. Meserve, I took the numbers from also from Mr. Peterson. And believe it or not, out of 27,637, they were off by 2 students.
Wow.
I did the percentage on that, that's 10,000ths of a difference. So, something you may want to know as board members is, on first day 1, we have 1,200 students absent that are actually enrolled. As of day 9, we only had 280 absent. So they trickle in and they come in those days because of different reasons throughout all the different campuses. Our largest school, Crestview, has 2,357 enrolled. Our smallest school is Richburg. They have 57 enrolled. So those range from 57 all the way to 2,357. And of course, we have different sizes all throughout. The South, even though we closed our 2 schools there last year, I stood before you and we talked about enrollment and why some of these enrollment changes happened. We are cautiously optimistic right now due to all the changes instituted not only by the superintendent, but by this board, that we're going to meet our marks. I won't talk about FTE today. That, as Ms. Perry transforms enrollment into actually funding through the Florida Education Finance Program, right? FTE is the money part, and enrollment is the actual body part. So I just kind of wanted to plant those seeds with you today. And any questions?
Madam Chair, just briefly, so could you help me remember our projections in terms of this number?
Right now, depending on which FTE factor we look at, right now we are a couple hundred off. Now, Ms. Perry has an amount that she sets aside in reserve to keep us on track with that. Hence the cautiously optimistic in terms of where we're at this year, Dr. White, versus where we were last year.
Well, that's pretty important because that's our budget, as you know.
Yes, sir.
And I would add on, and correct me where I need to be corrected, but I think the state FTE projection-wise gave us about, I think, 300 or 400 more than what we believe that we would have. So we did not take that 300 or 400 more and just go spend. It's held to the side, and it's a great job that Ms. Perry held that to the side, so that way, if we have to pay anything back, it comes straight from there first. But then Ms. Perry also does an FTE reserve that she also budgets for, and she's always budgeted for, that if we were short, then we would also pull from there as well. So this right here is just a great example of Mr. Spolsky's department and the work that they do is so crucial. Combined with finance and the work that they do is so crucial. Combined with human resources and the work that they do, which is so crucial. All of them being on the same page.
Thank you, sir.
Can I make a comment real quick? Sure. So, Mr. Spolsky, I thank you for all that you do out in the community and all that. And I think that's where we should focus on is providing a product that benefits the community as a whole. And I appreciate the superintendent. Years ago, we talked about this, about public education has to change with the times or we're going to get left behind. And one of those key points was marketing our school district to talk about all the good things that are happening, all the programs that we offer, making the adjustments when we have to, not over-projecting. I mean, it goes on and on and on. We are literally running a business here. And but that business at the end has to have a product that everybody is going to benefit from. And I personally think that we've done a great job over the last few years of promoting how special our school district is. It's not ever going to be perfect. It's not. But we do offer a lot of great programs out there, from VPK all the way to adult education. So thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I have a question that I've heard from both parents and teachers, and that is class size. So looking at this, because people are concerned closing schools now, are we just piling them all in classes? And so could you please address that?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. Yes, sir.
And then you can clean it up. So when it comes to class size, it is clear that there's a statutory piece to the 18, the 22, the 25. So I want to be completely transparent on all of it. And then there used to be penalties for that, and then they removed the penalties as well. School districts across Florida, and I'm not going to say every single one, but I know from speaking to my colleagues, they'll also go to the class size that is within their master contracts, okay? So what we look at here is the master contract class size, and we don't want to go over that. There's conversations with Mr. Spolsky, there's conversations with the union. If things get too large, there's conversations, and then we go and allocate positions. So our class size is higher, they are. Are they higher this year than last year?
they're comparable, sir. There are some sites that are a little bit higher, but we're still within contract on all those class sizes.
Okay? So when you look at the allocations, and this allocation process starts in March
Yes, sir.
and goes through still today. Mr. Spolsky works with Mrs. Perry, works with Mrs. Maxey, and there's X number of allocations that he has from the start. They go through, the schools do a great job, they go through their master schedules, they're putting students where they need to be, and class sizes in May and June might be really high. And then those principals will work with Mr. Spolsky, and he may send a high school 2 sections to get numbers down. He may send an elementary a full teacher allocation to get numbers where they need to be. But in today's world of budgets, if you do not do a good job with the master schedule, you will go upside down quick. You have to do a good job with the master schedule. And again, I'm just appreciative, and I say all the time, we're not perfect. But I think we do a pretty good job, not perfect. But I appreciate the communication that happens with Mr. Spolsky, with Ms. Maxey, with Ms. Peter, with Ms. Perry. I'm not going to speak for the union, but I know that we speak with them as well. And sometimes they will tell us, nope. You need to go back and look at that. And I appreciate that because we're all on the same page talking.
Right.
So, and again, I don't want to speak, but I just appreciate when you do push back and say, hey, we need to look at that, then that helps the whole process.
Right. Well, I had some calls I got, and I remember this when I was in the classroom, that first few days, you got them everywhere, and then it all kind of settles out. On the secondary schedule changing, different things. On the elementary, you got to see who really shows, like you just mentioned. The first day, we had 1,200 not even show. So you don't want to start until you feel like you have who's coming and start, doing, so I'm sure you're looking at that, and,
We'll continue to look at that, Madam Chair, and I will tell you, the union and I have spoken all through these 10 days, and we'll continue to speak through to make sure that we meet all those numbers. Going back to what Mr. Bryant said, it is critical that we are positioning our young folks to be successful. And so we will do that.
yes, welcome. Hey, Ms. Applebird, how are you this morning?
I'm good, how are you?
Good.
So as Mr. Spolsky just said, we've already been in contact with each other. I was in his office for over an hour Thursday. We've been talking about the different numbers. What we do on our side is we hold off at least the first 2 weeks because we know that there are bodies that don't show. We know that your class list might be way more than what the contract says, but those students don't ever show. So we talk about butts and seats, right? So that's when we start talking. So at the end of last week, because we're coming to the end of our 2-week mark, we had a conversation about schools that I've heard from that I'm a little concerned about. Mr. Spolsky went ahead and talked to the principals, started talking about how we're going to fix those things. And then he knows that throughout the year, and so does the superintendent, I randomly ask for any kind of grade level, maybe a whole school, maybe whatever, to do spot checks just to make sure as we hear things. So these conversations are ongoing, as Mr. Spolsky said, and they've already started this year. And I definitely appreciate the superintendent for letting me have that access to Mr. Spolsky instead of having to try to work my way through public records requests and things like that. I have access to just set up a meeting with him and be able to talk one-on-one with things.
Mr. Bryant.
So, real quick, just to explain the statutory requirement, which this is in our Constitution there, so which classes are under the class size amendment? Which classes would we deem? Now, it's not all of them.
No, ma'am, Madam Chair, some of them do not fall underneath those. We're looking at contract, but of course what Mr. Bryan is referring to is the classes or course numbers that actually fall under those. So those core subjects fall into those, and Mr. Peterson and Ms. Meserve run those courses and monitor those class sizes. Any of those courses that don't meet the statutory, then we will fill out reports and documents to the Florida Department.
Well, I just wanted to be clear that the class size only required to core classes.
That's right.
But I think a key piece here is what Mr. Spolsky just said. Any school district that does not meet the class size by statute. There's now a process that you go through, and as long as you go through that process, then we're good as a school district. What you just said a second ago, Ms. Vanchek, as pertains to enrollment, I think is crucial. You just said 1,200 students didn't show up on day one, okay? And if those 1,200 did not show up on day one, but we staffed for them, and now you have students who are already connecting with their teachers at the end of that second week, well, then you're either saying, okay, I'm going to keep all of my overstaffed teachers, and you know what that means financially, if you did that, or you'd have to let them go, redistribute students at that time, and some of those things can even still happen, but not on a large scale, but just all of a sudden kindergarten students going to a new teacher after they've connected with their teacher. So it's wise to be cautious to see who shows, and then if they show, and let's just say all of a sudden there's a class size of 18 where now there's 20. Well, 20, I'm just sharing with you, 20 is not out of the norm. A school that was sitting at 22 or 23 or whatever the number is, and I'm giving some hypotheticals, Mr. Spolsky knows the actual numbers. Then we come back and go, okay, yeah, that's too large. The union comes and says, that's too large. Then we make adjustments.
And just last thing I'll say, that you need to know, senior staff has heard me say it multiple times. The superintendent referred to the work that's happening between finance, HR, and of course our allocations team in the union, and it really has been surgical. It's literally like a team of doctors working these equations so that we're meeting the needs of the schools, the kids, the teachers, but also making the budget work. And so I say all that because it's been a lot of folks involved in this. Historically, we received allocations, and principals did a lot of that work in a closed vacuum, right? But because of some of the financial challenges that we have been facing over these last years, and you know, as a board, it's requiring us to do something different, as said. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I have a question for Ms. Bowles. Are there any schools in our district that are at capacity right now?
There's some that we're watching. There are some that I thought would be at capacity or over because of the consolidation in the South, and it didn't work that way. It's actually some unexpected room. Pineview, we thought we were going to start out with 775, 850. We're at 937 as of Thursday. I worry about that a little because it's all pine trees there right now. And once houses start to be developed in there, now that could change because a lot of folks are driving there because of COE. That campus is so shiny. As soon as they see it, they want to go there. But I think we're doing okay. Crestview, even though there's 2357 enrolled, which is less than last year at this time. Remember, we said fourth period. There's only about 2,000 walking around, the highest enrolled period, because of all the flexibility that happens in the morning and the afternoon.
How many would you estimate it has first period? How many students have first period?
Oh, it's down in the teens.
Let's just get it exact.
Yeah, it's much lower.
Yeah. All high schools.
Yeah,
Seniors don't go first period.
period off, yeah.
And that's a trend at all of them.
Right.
For the report next time I present to you in the workshop, I'll have some period analysis that you can compare and look at.
Okay. Mr. Destin has a question.
Madam Chair, I really appreciate this discussion that we just had about classroom size because, of course, we just talking to a lot of parents. We've been in an election cycle. You find out one of the bigger reasons that folks make decisions on choosing some non-traditional school choices is classroom size. So I'm happy to hear that we're on top of that. Shifting only slightly, do you have a sense of what portion or percentage, I know that probably Joe, your team took into consideration and when you close two schools in South End, the goal is, of course, that they will be, the students that were there will be rezoned and they'll end up in one of our other traditional public schools that they've been now rezoned to. But you have to assume that that disruptive event may trigger for some families the decision to say, am I going to go in a different direction altogether because they're closing my school? Do I really want to go to, let's say, the new rezoned school? I know you guys took that into consideration and how we thought that the children will flow. Do you have a sense that we are hitting our marks, that we're not losing more children to the closure that we thought we might? And so what I'm getting at is I met a bunch of families that were at Longwood, and they were going to be rezoned to Ocean City, and they said, I'm not doing that. Come to find out, good news, at least with the two anecdotes of families that I know, they said, well, they had a lot of misplaced worry. But they went into Ocean City. Excuse me. No, right. Ocean City. That's my brain's had it so many times. Thank you.
I know what you meant, sir.
Yeah, thanks. So there was nervousness about sending the child where they had been settled, they enjoyed Longwood, Longwood was not an option anymore. And then at that moment, am I going to send them to Wright? I'm worried that the Wright's got, come to find out, they've settled in Wright, they made the choice, and they're loving it. Do you have a sense that we've lost a higher or lower percentage of children to alternative choices due to the closures, or do our enrollment numbers look pretty decent for our recipient schools?
We're healthy in the South, sir, but not over capacity. We're very healthy. And I'll put some color-coded geographic numbers for you at our next report so you can really kind of see that. But I will say for Rosa, Edwins, Wright, Elliott Point, they're healthy.
Good. All right. That makes me feel great. Good. Thank you.
All right. From there, I think it's a logical transition to a hiring update.
Okay. Hey, Ms. Maxey.
Good morning. Okay, so instructional hiring, I just wanted to give you guys the overview numbers as well. So this summer, we have hired 143 new employees, which is actually a little bit more than last year. We had 135 new teachers last year. And then we have also had this year with Longwood and Mary Esther, we ended up with 223 transfers and reassignments this school year, which is also a higher number than in years past. Okay, and so then right now, we have 34 open instructional positions. So we went and contacted all of those school principals to get a little bit more information. What are we really looking at? And it was interesting. Several of these jobs have long-term substitutes in them who are working on their certification. So Mr. Ron's department is working with them to get those certification tests. A couple of them have the applicants kind of finalizing their decision-making. And so when we went through the list, we ended up with 8 instructional openings that we really need to find someone for. There's not a current person in the queue. So I wanted to make sure I told you guys that because I think that that's 2 very different stories. So we did, and we are going to partner with those schools to try to help them find specific folks if it is a harder to fill position. Some of these were interesting as well. I think it's worth noting they were PE positions, art positions. We are not talking about 34 positions in our core areas, which I also think is noteworthy. And then on the support side, we have 50 openings, 21 are parapros, and 15 are custodians, 9 of which are cleaners. So we are still in need of some custodial staff. And so we are working to come up with ways to get those folks, but that's where we currently sit.
So you had 50, so 21 parapros, 15 custodians, and the others?
The rest, yes, we had some, well, those are not included in that number, but we do have some maintenance folks that we are going to be working with Donovan and the marketing group to create some specialized marketing for some of those more specialized positions. And that's why I kind of pulled out parapro and custodian because the rest of them were an interpreter here, a secretary there, we had 5 or 6 of the maintenance folks, and that's where we felt like we could maybe do some specialized marketing to see if we can get some of those.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Any questions on that, board members? All right.
No, ma'am, Madam Chair, but if I might just return to the projections, just for a moment. I did some quick math, and it looks to me like the projections were pretty good. And in fact, it looks like, based on these numbers, that it's less than 1% off. And that's phenomenal, because back in the days when I used to have to do it for a school, and say I had 750 students and I had to project for next year, that would mean that number, that ratio, I would have missed it by 5 students, and I probably would have gotten a letter of commendation from Ms. Perry's office. So I hope that holds, because that's really, really good. All of you should be commended. See Joe over there too. Yeah.
Key to what Dr. White just said, I hope it holds.
Yeah.
We do as well, but also on that point, because we were here last year, somewhere around this time, could have been August, could have been September, could have been October. But projecting today is not projecting what it was 20 years ago. It's completely different and difficult. So just a lot goes into that. John's department, Ms. Meserve, Joe Pete, and others, but a lot goes into the accuracy of that, because there's so many variables that we do not have control of.
So, we've said Mr. Peterson's name a lot, and you know, he doesn't say a whole lot. He's got those numbers. Is there anything you want to say? Great, thank you.
So real quick, Mr.
Yeah.
Chair, so Dr. Ryan, I appreciate you crunching numbers, because then that gets my mind of asking a question regarding enrollment. So typically, the first 2 weeks, we kind of are seeing who's coming, like Ms. Alberg said, butts in the chairs. What time of the year do we actually see an influx of students returning back to our schools, maybe based because they chose a different route and now they're coming back? Do we see, is there a particular time frame during the year that we actually see an influx, and how does that affect our FTE?
Definitely, we see that in the secondary, at semester. We obviously would like to have them in before then in October, so that we could count those students here in that 11-day window. But with elementary and everything that has really happened through the voucher system, it's a little different in terms of primary, the K-5 environment. So,
To also add on to that, even before the voucher system, Mr. Spolsky, would it be a true statement that, in essence, there's a certain time early on, which is your highest enrollment, and then as you get towards your first FTE, you might go down some, but definitely when you go towards your second FTE, we go down. When I say we, that's just something that just happens across the state.
yeah, absolutely, Superintendent Chambers. There's usually a 2 to 3% decrease when we make the turn from the fall and the winter to the spring. Of course, he's referring to Survey 2 versus Survey 3, and we actually capture them in the 11-day window. And I will say Ms. Perry's department and Ms. Meserve, Mr. Peterson all work together with me, and we actually compress some of those numbers so that we take into account those decreases that naturally attrit throughout the year. But to actually give you a month, Mr. Bryant, that'd be tough right now.
But you did kind of answer it. So for the secondary, obviously after the first semester, and true on the primary and elementary level, it's hard to tell.
It's rolling, yes, sir. Yes.
All right. Got just a few more. And if transportation would come up, just wanted to give the board just a quick feel, and not a big presentation, but just a big feel. As you know, a lot of planning goes on for the first day, and then in the first 2 weeks, a lot of adjustments will occur.
Thank you, Mr. Chambers. Good morning. Got Ryan Gore coming up here as well. And I will echo that, the first 2 weeks of school in the transportation, there's time needed to adjust and get comfortable with routines. So we slow things down for the drivers a little bit. We understand that parents might hold on to that hug a little bit longer in the morning. And then when the teachers are bringing those, especially the young students, out of the classroom to the bus ramp, it takes time to learn what bus they're on, get on the bus. So we understand the first 10 days, there could be some hiccups, but overall it went pretty smooth. And we're excited. At the end of this week, we're going to be putting out some information for our parents for our next initiative, which is Stop Finder. I'm going to have Ryan explain that just a little bit, but this is the part of the software that we use within the transportation department that the parents will see that real time on where the bus is and have the ability to set up geo alerts to alert them when the student is getting to their bus stop. So we're excited about that. We appreciate everybody in the transportation department getting rolling. So they worked hard over the summer, but especially the first couple weeks. Just like we mentioned, over 27,000 students, and a lot of those are young kids. It just takes time to work the kinks out. Ryan?
Good morning. Mr. Meyer summarized it pretty well. The start to the year was fairly smooth. I have to report the second day of school, we had everybody delivered and dropped by approximately 5 o'clock in the afternoon, which was a rarity. So it was eerily quiet the second day. The first day, obviously, we had some issues that we worked through, which we always do. So where we're at right now is in our adjustment phase of our routes. We've got a pretty clear picture of ridership. And so now we're adjusting stops. We may be removing stops off of routes to other routes to help with either bus capacity or route times. And so we're in that phase now. So if you hear calls or questions about why is this bus running late, we are aware of it. We are working on that to make them as efficient as possible. Also with capacity on buses, we are working on adjusting that. So this week right now, what's currently going on in transportation is we're working on launching Stop Finder for parents. So we have a representative from the company that's actually here on site. They'll be training Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, as well as today, working with each individual shop, ironing out the last issues in terms of technology, what are the kinks with the tablets, any kind of technical issues the drivers may be having. So we're troubleshooting the final kind of gremlins in the system. We know we're not going to get all of them out. There's always something with technology, but this is our last training intensive week. And then working with Ms. Mears to begin getting the word out to parents. So on Friday, we're going to send them a, hey, this is coming. If you've not set up your Focus Parent Portal account, so we have a good contact email address for you. We're going to encourage them to do that on Friday. We'll do it again on Monday. And then Tuesday, I will be sending out invitations to all those email addresses in our system. Again, it's going to go to both custodial parents, so they can set that up. Once they receive that invitation, they can then download the app, and then they can set up their estimated time of arrival alerts, their geo alerts. We're going to have information on our website that they can reference, as well as contact information, because we know this is new for parents also, right? So we're here to support them in getting that off the ground. And so the ultimate goal is for them to use it. We know they may experience issues also. So if they do have issues, we certainly want to help them and get them on board and use that application. So that is where we're currently at.
All right, board members, anything? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Does anybody know what happens in September? So I'm just going to go to American Founders Month. Okay? And
Constitution.
So I can go back a number of years, Dr. White, I'm not even sure how many years ago it was, and I just remember you say to me, you know, we need to do a very good job, and you knew we would, but we need to do a very good job with American Founders Month. And so there'll be a number of different activities that will occur over the course of September. Some of them with 9/11, some of them with state-required curriculum instruction. There'll be assemblies, different things that will happen throughout the month of September. And I'd really say honoring our country, honoring our founding fathers. And so you can see here, these are just a few graphics, but you see the 11th, you see the 17th, and then you see the 21st through the 25th, called American Founders Month, but then you have 21st through the 25th, Celebrate Freedom Week. And then September 17th, Constitution Day. September 11th, Patriot Day, or 9/11. But it's a special time in my mind. I grew up in New Hampshire, and we had the Revolutionary War and all the different types of instructions. A lot of this was during that time when I grew up in elementary. But this is a special time for our students, but also for our teachers in our schools. So when we get into September, you'll see some updates in the September meeting, then you'll see a culmination of what occurred at the end of September at the board meeting as well. And with that, going forward, I got a little excited.
It's 250, right? So that's why.
Yes.
Mr. Chambers did an excellent job of detailing what our schools and our students will experience in September. I'll just recap and say that the Florida Department of Education has designated September as American Founders Month. You'll notice on the back of the handout that I provided you lots of details, fine print, but those two blue hyperlinks, our teachers are provided resources and are able to access resources to support that 3 hours of required civics instruction during the month of September. So they have the resources they need for instruction as well to inspire the next generation of citizens. And I look forward to sharing with you either at the end of September, celebrate American Founders Month.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor. Well done. And now, last one is our annual report. So I will stay brief on this, but I do want to say, Ms. Card, as you know, this is the third one. She's done a great job leading this venture. But I also want to say that we have some folks with us from Bit Wizards, who Ms. Card will introduce.
Seriously.
Well, I said the same thing.
The bobblehead.
Oh, you all should have seen his reaction, because I didn't even tell him, I just let him open it up. And his face. I think we actually need to make them. We need to make bobbleheads as a superintendent.
Right, this is going downhill. But I also want to thank Bit Wizards from day one was a partner in this with us. We would have the content, but we would not have the quality of this in that they do as a free service for us, which is something that we just absolutely appreciate. And you know, the first year we did it, statewide award. Second year, national award. So thankful to each of you. Just very grateful.
Scott, you're so nervous. Don't worry, you won't have to give a speech. So to Superintendent Chambers' point is that with Vince Mayfield, and he sends his regrets, he wished he could be here this morning. But I do want to introduce Carolyn McCoy. She's the COO of Bit Wizards. Heather Reed, she's the Director of Marketing. And Mr. Scott Compton, he is the lead graphic designer, and I can say he is more than just an extended employee, friend. He's just been amazing, and he loves Auburn, so we're definitely in good company. So he has done a tremendous job of all the meetings that we have, of trying to extract what is in my head to make this come to life. And if we can go back a couple years when we had our first annual report and, having this and having the state award, I did look back, and we did have a National Award of Merit. But, looking at it and saying, how am I going to top this? And then we had the second report. And then having this product come to life, I think that there's definitely going to be some addies as well. That is something that Wizards have put in for, and every year they've also gotten awards here at the state level. So it's just been an amazing partnership, and I cannot thank you all enough. There are definitely multiple pairs of eyes on this thing before we hit the yes, we're ready to print. So just wanted to go through a couple things. As you noticed, this is definitely a labor of love. I've already started on this year. I've already got the folder built up for 26, 27. This is something that I am working on throughout the year, just taking the photos, collecting all of those important highlights. And this has been a wonderful tool for our school district to communicate all the amazing things that is happening within the school district, not only for our students, but our staff, our principals, part of this, and I know you all are as well. Again, opening up the table of contents, this was something very special that Scott came up with the bobblehead. So we're thinking about even like adding some other things through, but again, each edition of this, there will be something that will make people smile throughout, and I just thought that was just a really great way to open up this annual report.
I think it's fabulous.
One of the other things, you will get one, I have plenty. So, and we are getting them out. We've had some public meetings last week. The Oglesby Public Schools Foundation, they all each received one. Our elected officials will get them, the Chambers of Commerce. So we'll push it out, and I will be sending out a press release today. But there's just like little things here, like the page numbers, if you notice at the top. Scott, that was a special touch that Scott had, where he just added the page numbers at the top. Starting off with the superintendent's message, I'm going to mention Mr. Peterson's name again because he's been fantastic in getting all the enrollment and demographic information to me. And again, want to recognize the school board members, information about our school board meetings when they're available to the public. And again, these are just things that we do continuously, but again, it's good to have another product of our school district where it's got all this information. I think Scott also hit this out of the park, because this was something from the military in terms of our Oglesby County map. Members of the military said they actually love this feature of our annual report because it helps, especially those that are coming into the area and they're looking at places where they're going to live, based on where they're stationed, what schools, and then of course like the feeder pattern. So I think that this has been very worthwhile, not only for our military, but those that are coming into Oglesby County. They have an idea of the layout of our school district. Thanks to Ms. Perry, always double, triple checking numbers, make sure the budget numbers are correct. So again, a huge help with that, and really appreciate the way that is laid out, so people can understand like the different pots of money and where things are allocated to. Our investments with capital. And highlighting our big things between Destin Elementary and our employee, our health clinic. That was a big thing to highlight. Hassan Sales Tax Project, again, just photos throughout the year, the different ribbon cuttings that we've had, things that were just these amazing spaces that our teachers and our students are able to live in, and then highlighting our Citizen Surtax Oversight Committee, having them listed as well. But again, it just goes back to cover what has transpired here over the past year, talking about transportation, got lots of smiling faces and how much we love our bus drivers. And then, of course, celebrating our Teacher of the Year, our Educational Support Professional of the Year, and our principals and assistant principals. So entering into this next section is just all of our pillars. Community engagement, something very near and dear to our hearts, things that we do. Wanting to give props to those that just mean so much to us to keep our school district going in a multitude of different ways. And something special that we want Longwood and Mary Esther. I did speak with Ms. Johnson and Ms. Wheat, and both of them did say that this literally brought tears to their eyes when they saw it. So it was impactful, it's meaningful, and again, I went to Longwood as well as Mary Esther, taking tons and tons of photos, and just trying to see what we could do to really just bring those pages to life. And again, thank you, Scott, for making it so meaningful. We really appreciate it. And then our year review for CTE, Oglala Technical College, and something special, America 250. There's a lot of things that our school district has been doing towards the latter part of the last school year, as well as paying respects and honor to our military partners. So I think that was just a real special touch to add this year, and we'll certainly ensure that there will be some things that we will add to America 250 for next year's annual reports. And then last but not least, our Oglala Public Schools Foundation, they do so much and wanted to give them some space with extra photos and extra highlights of all the impactful ways that they're helping our students and teachers. And then, as we always end the last couple of years with our school calendar, and then ways to stay connected. And again, it's also, just so families and the community know that we have different communication methods. And that is it for the 2025-2026 annual report.
This is phenomenal. This is like a yearbook. I just love it. And the quality, as you know, I did yearbooks and publications. That's what I did when I was a teacher. And so I'm just shaking over here. I'm so excited to see this. I'm looking at the layout and everything. Phenomenal. Thank you so much for partnering with us, and you always do a great job and deserve all the awards. But this is exciting, and what a great piece to put out in our public. Thank you.
Appreciate it. And I would like to have Scott and Heather come up. They want to say a few words. If they don't want to say a few words, we just want you to know how much we appreciate you. So, I know you're a graphic designer. Come on, you can say something.
The design is great. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you for having me here this morning. I appreciate it. I would like to thank a couple people. The company I work for, Bit Wizards and Talking Parents, they do so much for the community, and this is one project I get to do, and I look forward to it every year. So I really appreciate them for that. And then another person is Catherine. She does, I tease her because she has all the hard part, and I've got the fun part. She works all year long, get 2 or 3 months, and get to design it, and so, but I appreciate everything you do. Thank you. Thank you.
Madam Chair, may I say something to Scott? I appreciate deeply the fact that you're an artist and the actual human element that this actually represents. We're awash in AI right now. It's a lot of slop. We're getting numb to it. This is a deeply human, and you can tell all over from the little touches everywhere. There's just the badges, the longer badges on each page. I love this thing through and through. I just want to tell you the human element and all this is beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I would just like to comment to thank you to the Wizards, thank you to everybody involved in getting this done. Mrs. Anchek looks at it through an educator's view that this is a yearbook. Some of us who are in the private sector, this is an annual report to our stockholders, which is our parents and everybody involved in public education. So a great job, like Mr. Destin said. You can see just the warmth in it, the human element in it, just talks about all the great things that are going on. And to me, that's important that we get this out to our stockholders, which is the community that we serve. I do have a quick question regarding this. So I know Vince is a great parent. Is this going to be available online exactly like we're seeing it up there?
It's already on the website.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Hillary. So, like I said, I will send out a press release today with the link, so that will be going out today. Yes, sir.
And just say, Madam Chair, if anyone's looking at measuring public schools by the annual report, we win.
Yes.
Agreed.
Good job. Great.
Yeah.
That's all Catherine does.
On to Mr. Bryan's statement of how will others get it. So website, we also have our parent email group that this will be sent out to as well. So we try to get out to as many people as we can so they can see the work. Two, I say all the time, we are not a perfect school district, but there's a number of things that we do very well. And this encompasses a lot of that. But we don't just stop here and go, okay, we did this very well. Now we want to continue to get better. But there is something about taking a pause and saying, wow, look at the excellence that occurred over the last school year. And I think if I made the statement that we said it was just a very simple school year, I'm not sure everyone would agree. And even in the midst of a not necessarily simple school year, a lot happened with our teachers, with our staff, with our administrators out there at those schools, with district staff supporting support of our school board. There's a lot that happens. And then, of course, Ms. Card is the lead on this, and she has a team as well. And you want to talk about some of those folks who really helped you get some of this stuff from the district side?
Absolutely. Between Joe Peterson, Mrs. Harry, Lyndon Kozak, and Norbert, they have just been amazing. And then
Certainly with all the photos that have been taken throughout the year with Mr. Mars, I mean, this is really what kind of brings everything to life. So, but again, I do appreciate those folks that took the time out of their schedules to really read through that, making sure grammatically everything was good to go, no misspelled words, and it is a labor of love. So really, really grateful, and I appreciate the support.
I'd like to, because she's here, I'd like to say something about Ms. Ruiz.
Yep.
First of all, we go way back. I was a journalism teacher. She was just starting in her career at the Northwest Florida Daily News. She was our representative over there. And she helped me with some students put out some pretty darn good journalism out of Choctawhatchee High School and everything. And I've just been enjoying seeing your career grow over the years. And I may embarrass her with this, but tonight she is being inducted into the Okaloosa County Women's Hall of Fame for her work with the group. I will be there tonight to see that. I'm on that commission. Again, we go back to Kids Vote. So many projects that you and I work together on with my journalism staff. And like I said, it's been exciting to see your career grow and the wonderful things that you've done. So glad to see you here today, and thank you. All right, anything else?
No, ma'am. Appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Okay, good stuff. All right, let's move on. So now we're to board members' announcements and requests for information. So let's start with Dr. White.
Nothing this morning, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. White. Let's go with Mr. Bryant.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and again, Mr. Chambers, staff, everybody involved. Here we are beginning week 3, an exciting school year. And like you said, it looks smooth, but I do know we had some things that we had to address, and those are being addressed every day. And appreciate everybody's hard work in getting everything together. As you can see, I am wearing my Walker Elementary shirt today. And just something to kind of talk about the history of our school district. And I'm just going in District 4. It looks like one of our newer schools, but believe it or not, it's now one of our older schools. It was opened in 1989, along with Blue Water Elementary. That's why when you go to Blue Water and Walker, you're kind of looking in the mirror, except for the colors are a little different. But I'll just say that it's a great school. A lot of great leaders have come out of that school. When I moved here, Ms. Williams was the principal, and then we had Ms. Kirkland, and there that you're going, wow, yeah. Some great leaders there, and now we have Ms. Young there, so great school. But people always wonder, what does WC, who was W.C. Walker? So he was a prominent local citizen, civic leader, and educator. And it just so happens the land that the school that sits on was part of the Walker family, thus is in honor of him being a contributor to education, being in education, and being on the land that was owned by the Walkers. It was decided by the school board at that time that they would name it after him, W.C. Walker. And their family goes back all the way back to the beginnings of Okaloosa County. So a lot of great history there. Nikita just kind of they go back a long ways. So if you ever get a chance to go into Walker Elementary, they have really done a great job of opening up with, when you walk in, there's a nice mural there now, and it's very bright, warm, and welcoming. And of course, they're a school, so all of the great things that are going on there. So a shout out to Walker, W.C. Walker Elementary, home of the Owls.
Thank you. Hey, Mr. Justin.
Sure, I have just two quick items. We're going to be doing, we're going to fry shrimp for Lewis School, their open house, this coming Thursday. So I think we'll probably start at first lunch, which is around like 10:15, 10:20. So if any of you guys want to jump over to Valpy, and I'll feed you too. Come on and see us. I think it'll be a really great turnout. Feeding staff is always usually a great time to honor the hard work that everybody from principal down to custodian does for our schools. So we're going to be doing that on Thursday. Just one remark, just an attaboy sort of, man, we live in a wonderful community kind of remark. This one goes out to Meggs Middle School. You know, in the first week of school, everybody comes in, you start to get a quick picture and snapshot of what's going on and the challenges within the community with how many kids are absent, what they're absent for, kids showing up necessarily with not new shoes on and a new school backpack, that sort of thing. And it's a testament to the systems and the scaffolding and frankly the people that we have within our school district this time in Meggs with the admin team, staff PTO. They had their first meeting. They had already established that there were about 11 students that were going to have issues with nutrition. And so in a very quiet and unofficial way, they have established a pantry that makes sure those kids over the weekend don't go hungry. And there was a coordination between the identification from the admin team and teachers to the SAC PTO. An all-call was sent out online, and the community showed up in spades, which was really deeply encouraging. It was an opportunity for all of us to show up, and I just want to give kudos to Meggs for basically doing the quiet work that we know happens throughout this school district at every single one of our locations, since public schools are the mixing point for American society, so it's a direct reflection of whatever's going on, good and oftentimes bad in our school, in our communities, which is issues with housing. We know that we've got kids bouncing couches at the high school level. We know that we've got nutrition issues. We've got all sorts of things, drugs, mental health. We talk about these things constantly. And it has nothing to do with actual education, but it does in the fact that if you can't meet those base needs on the pyramid of importance in any human being's life, you can't go to the next step, which is trying to teach them and educate them. So I just want to brag on Meggs. Their principal and vice principal doing a terrific job over there, and in coordination with a really wonderful community that really stepped up and are looking out for our students. That's all I've got.
Thank you. Mr. Heinley?
Two things. One is a question. Our next workshop and board meeting, is that on the 8th?
Tuesday, or is it on the 7th?
14th.
Oh, the 14th?
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Because Labor Day is the 7th on a Monday.
Oh, okay. I'm off a week. All right. I shouldn't have asked. Okay, trivia question today. Today's the 24th. Who was the 24th president of the United States?
Yeah, you did.
Grover Cleveland was the 22nd president.
And it's the 24th.
Okay. All right. Very well done. That's all I have.
Okay, great. He looked it up. No one cares. He did, so. Okay. All right, here we go. I already mentioned tonight is the Okaloosa County Women's Hall of Fame. It's out at the Convention Center. Excited about that. We have about 12, is it 12? How many? About 12. Okay, 7? Okay. Women who are being inducted, so that's an exciting event, and I will actually be there because I sit on that commission, so you got it tonight. All right, some information coming from the foundation. Big award for our Take Stock in Children program. I'm so excited. Our program has won the Luminary Award from the state of Florida. This is the top of the line. This means that to do that, they have to score 100% in these areas: mentoring, college readiness, program data, and Take Stock in Children compliance standards. And we did all that at 100%. And received this award. It's a big deal. You know, a few years ago, this foundation was in danger of going away. And where it has come is phenomenal. We've had some great leaders and all that, but I do want to highlight Ms. Lori Lipnicki, who does our college readiness piece, and Patrice Bobo Miles, who is our student services coordinator, and also all those mentors out there who, I mean, the program can't exist without mentors. And we have so many of those, and that's just wonderful. And I'm just thrilled that we are getting this recognition, and very excited about that. And then Ms. Tate, who of course is phenomenal in our foundation, sent me some information. We're about to get started with our teacher grants, so we want our teachers to be watching for that. These are great grants that we give money for them to do some things in their classrooms. They've come up with some phenomenal projects over the years. And then we're on our 6th annual barbecue and bingo coming up on November 5th. And I'm going to try again to win. I go every year, I never win. But I'm going again. And then, all right, someone help me with this game that starts with an M. M-A-H, what is it called? Mahjong, okay. I'm not familiar with that. So we're having a mania on it. Fundraiser on February 13th at the Science Center. So that's exciting. And then moving into the spring, March 9th, if you want to go ahead and put it on your calendar, will be our 7th annual College and Career Fair at Beachside Church. So the foundation's always working ahead and doing so many great things. But congratulations to them on this award, okay? It's exciting. All right, I do have, moving into a little more serious note, I do have something that I would like to get some information out. And Mr. Superintendent and maybe our attorney. The first week of school, a situation came up with a student in our district who uses a wheelchair, okay? And so there were some concerns about ADA compliance with this student and all students in our district. And I ended up being the person who reached out to this because it started as a transportation issue. And when I saw on social media some getting kind of, upset about this, I reached out and said, I think I can help you. And I did. I called Mr. Dorr. He worked it out and got that. But then it went on to some other things, at which time I went to, as board members, we asked the authorities. I don't know all the laws, by rote, so I, as a board member, asked the people who are the experts. So I consulted the administration at that school, and I also consulted on the district level. And what I was told was that many of our schools are old, and that according to the law, in areas of these older schools, there's not necessarily a legal component that we have to immediately go in and redo the facilities if arrangements are being made for the person to have other accommodations. Well, when I explained that to the parent, and I use the term grandfathering, which is a colloquial term that says basically that, it was brought back by not only the parent, but the community as an uproar that I did not know the law, and two, that I was lying about it. So I want to set the record straight because we, of course, as this board and our district, we want to do the right thing. But I also, want to say that, so today I want to set that record straight. Was the information I was given correct? So that if I stated it incorrectly, I will apologize. But that's what I'm going to forward. So I would appreciate today if someone could let this board know where we stand on this. What is the law? I mean, it is what it is. And then also, where do we stand on getting our facilities to make sure that we're with the law, because we do want to do this.
Absolutely, Ms. Vanchek. First of all, I appreciate you bringing this up. As you know, this became more of a topic, at least from my standpoint, as I got closer to the weekend during that particular time. But I want to go through a number of things here. But I want to first go back to the law and then what was shared with you. There's very much truth into ADA compliance of when things were built back in the day versus when things were built today. But I've asked Mr. Meyer to come up and just share a little bit about the law, if there's something that's left out.
Good morning. Thank you.
So, yes, to your point, Mrs. Vanchek, when we have existing facilities, they can retain whatever that compliance was, it was built at that time until, where we start to do a substantial renovation. So if we go in there and do any work in that space, we have to update that space to current building codes.
So quickly, real quick, so you set a specific time, so ADA became law in what year?
So 1990, and then more so in the building code in 1992. So most of our facilities are older than that. When you say Walker Elementary, 89, it was even before those codes were in place. I will say those codes change on a regular basis. So hence, to your comment, we don't immediately have to go in and correct every space to current today's building code. So those spaces can retain unless we go in there and renovate. And of course, any new construction will be built to current code. And we've done a lot of buildings and new spaces, multi-purpose buildings, cafetoriums. They all have ADA compliant spaces.
So, and I don't want to sound too self-serving, but I'll be honest, this really got escalated on me personally. So what I was told, what I just said I was told, and what you're saying, so that was correct for me to give that information, right? That we do not legally have to go in and that area fix it.
So
we don't have to by law.
You're correct. Now, we do look at the entirety of a campus.
Sure.
So we do, and we look at individual students as well. We want to take care of our students.
Absolutely.
But when we look at the entirety of the campus, do we have access for students with disabilities? So yes is the answer, because we have built new buildings and new spaces up to the current code. Those older spaces, you're correct, can stay until we renovate.
Okay, so, all right.
And I always like to add on, so the answer is yes, but I think it goes even deeper with what you shared with me, in essence, that weekend, which was, we need to make sure that we look at this facility. And so I appreciated you sharing that. I know Mr. Bryant had a very similar sentiment. We need to make sure we know what's going on over there. So I want to share that piece. So brought to my attention right around that weekend time frame. And on that Monday, go to the school, wanted to put our eyes on it. And I said, Mr. Meyer, get Jacob Titan as well, and get the principal and whoever their facilities person, give them the opportunity to come around as well. Now, when we got there, Mr. Bryant happened to be there as well, so he walked with us. So we walked the school, in particular to a particular student at that time. but also being mindful of the school as a whole. First of all, I do want to say that there are many places at Crestview High School, just like across the district, that are already ADA compliant. Right now, I'm talking specifically 2 bathrooms. So many of the bathrooms at Crestview High School were already ADA compliant. But for a particular student, we wanted to go above and beyond. Though there's a law out there that says that it was compliant at that time, if something's brought to our attention, just like both of our school board members asked me to look at, if something's brought to my attention, which I know each of you would want as well, then on this particular route, 2 bathrooms were already compliant. We made another bathroom compliant, and then there was also a place in the front office as well. But in my mind, that's not necessarily good enough. We also, those were some short-term things in terms of bathrooms. Then we looked at 2 bathrooms. When I say we, I'll use that loosely. I'll go to the experts of Mr. Meyer and the group and said, hey, here are 2 bathrooms that are essentially located along a route. And this route could change from year to year, but these are essentially located, and we're going to make these 2 particular bathrooms ADA compliant. Now, let me stop there for a second. There's multiple bathrooms across the school that are ADA compliant, but we're going to make these 2 ADA compliant as well, which will happen over the course of this school year, okay? As we were also walking around, at the time, coming into the building, you know how they have those lips. And so any student who might be in a wheelchair coming over this lip, we're making that a ramp. And on the day, there was going to be 1 ramp, but now I'm being told there's going to be 2 ramps that will be installed. So that piece will happen as well. There's also some things that Mrs. Hayden, who worked diligently with the student and family, that they're doing internally, and I'm just leaving that internally because they're working with the student and the family. Also, when you go outside in the parking lot, we have the required ADA parking spots that are currently there. However, we're adding 2 more parking spots as well. Going out to the football stadium, it was stated that they were not in compliance. And I don't mean this in a negative way, but they are in compliance, but probably could have some TLC done to them. So some TLC will happen to them. There were a few other things that we've also put in place, but those are the material ones. Have I missed anything?
Just a few grates and areas where a wheelchair needed to be up to speed, and then converting one of the faculty restrooms to a female ADA compliant restroom.
So I say all that to say not to give us a badge of honor or anything, but this was I want to repeat that, this is not to give us a badge of honor. This was something that was brought to our attention. I think we had, I don't want to speak for anyone, but we had a school board member and some board members who reached out, wanted to help. That was passed to me, went to look at the school, and we put necessary steps in place. That's Crestview High School, okay? And you heard what the law is. So that law is applied all across Okaloosa, all across counties, across our state of Florida, and I'm sure the nation as well. But Mr. Meyer also is looking at our school district as a whole, which that's not going to happen in 2 seconds. Just looking at our school districts as a whole, we had already done a number of ADA compliance work over the years. We actually have a project for it. And I think even a renewed project as recently as 3 months ago.
3 months ago on the restroom, and then we have a task.
And I don't mention 3 months ago to say we had that to offset this Crestview situation. So I don't say that for that. I'm just simply saying we had that in place to continue work on ADA compliance. So in my mind, I'm appreciative that the parent brought this to our attention. We addressed it. And now there's going to be some good that's going to come out of it for Crestview, but also a review. any questions.
Okay, that's great. I appreciate the clarification. As a school board member, I want the best for all students. And it was only about the third day of school, I was trying to do what I could in my position to help that situation, along with coordinating with the administration. And that did escalate very quickly, but I'm glad to know that we're working on that. So thank you for that explanation. I appreciate that. Okay. All right, moving on here to, we do have public comment 14, that will be the yellow card. That's the 2-minute for any item that's not on our agenda. And we also have some public hearing tonight, 15.1, public hearing for adoption of instructional materials for secondary science and career and technical education, reproductive health and disease education for the 26-27 school year, presented instruction. 15.2, public hearing for revision of school board policy 01-21, wellness policy, presented by Ms. Cato. 15.3, public hearing for revision of school board policy to advertise a revision of school board policy 04-25, administering medicines to students, presented by Ms. Roeder. 15.4, public hearing for revision of school board policy 0503, directory information, presented by Mr. Spolsky. So those are open tonight. All right. Anybody else? Any staff have anything? Anything else from Mr. Strong? A lot of things covered, and this is good. And if that's all, then I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you very much.